Hey everybody, this is crazy. First, my computer wouldn't work to get it going. Then I realized I spent the first 2 minutes of my live talking to myself without audio. So I went in and I deleted that and I'm starting from scratch. So I'm sorry I'm about 15 minutes late today. I apologize for the delay, but I want to go over a few things today. I don't really have a brand new topic to work on. I'm still trying to wrap up bodice fitting and some of the things we were doing in March and April and also in May with the bodice fitting. So I got some good questions and comments from the two videos I posted this week, my Cool Tool video and also my bust start adjustment video. So I want to talk about those things quickly and just clear up a few things because there was one really good question in the bodice, the bust start video, which I really feel like I should have addressed. So I'm going to come in and talk about these things now, and then I'm going to show you a little project I'm doing on the side. And then next week we will be back to my regular scheduled Fab Fit Friday where I will be working on something. It probably will still be bodice related because I want to finish up that whole series before I start a new series. So to get things started today, the first thing I want to talk about is this little video I did on Monday. Karen, one of my students from the bodice fitting class I taught in person on in March, had this wonderful green tape dispenser. Hers was a little bit different than this, but she basically sent me the weighted tape dispenser, and I opened the box quick. It was in a cardboard Amazon box that fit the box that the tape dispenser came in really snugly. So I opened it up at the top, and it looked like from the top cover that it was a standard weighted tape dispenser. So I was always very appreciative, and so I thanked her, and then I put it on the shelf to keep as a spare when one of my other ones wears out or if I lose one, which happens. Then when I got back from the Fiber Fabric Craft Fest, there was another package in my pile, and it was this tape. Now this tape is a 1-inch wide, see it's wide, 1-inch wide removable tape. So that's what that's what I shared on Monday this week. And I have to say, for me, this video went viral. There's already 25,000 views for this little cool tool. But the thing that's freaking me out is Scotch has discontinued this tape, or at the very least, they're not making it so much anymore, and it's hard to find. And of course, after my video played, you can't find any of this tape anymore because the early watchers snapped it all up. So check out Cool Tools this Monday. I'm going to have a solution to the scarcity of the Scotch tape that's removable. And of course, I did not put a link to that in the description, but if you head over, check my channel, it was the cool tool I did on Monday. Check it out. It was a really fun video. And again, thank you, Karen. This has been amazing so far. And then on Tuesday, I did a Fit Tip Tuesday on a bodice fitting thing that I want to share with you. And basically, I want to share it with you because I discovered it working on my own perfectly fitted shirt. So I have a perfectly fitted shirt pattern, and let me just see if I have the cover here. I don't know if I have that particular one. I might. Let me see if I can find it. No, I don't think I have that particular pattern. But basically, if you saw a couple weeks ago, I am rebranding my covers. And I printed 20 copies of 23 different patterns to bring with me to the Fabric Fiber Craft Festival. And basically, what happened at the festival was I had a great time. And I did do a recap of that experience. That's on my channel as well. You can check that out. But it was very quilt heavy. So there were very few garment sewing things there. The Chicago ASG was there, and we were actually back to back booth wise. So I got to visit with them and hang out with them. And that was fun. But I didn't sell a ton of patterns. So if you've been eyeing any of my patterns, I'm going to be having a printed pattern sale, 30% off. And you can use coupon code NEWCOVER30 to get 30% off, because I have a lot of patterns in my stock right now, and I normally don't keep a big stock of patterns because of my storage space. So if you'd like to take advantage of getting 30% off, check in the description below. I did put a link to my newsletter that went out yesterday, and the details for those are in there. Or you can just head over to my website and put in NEWCOVER30, all one word, and get 30% off printed patterns. The other two things I want to talk about before I start showing you my bodice situation that I have on here. Let me just bring her over. Okay. Is I'm teaching 2 in-person workshops, one in June and one in July. The June workshop is going to be a master alterations workshop with my friend Shorin Graham at her shop, Michael's Tailoring. So if you are struggling with your alterations, or if you have a lot of things to alter, in the end, this class will actually end up saving you money, because once you learn how to fix things yourself, you won't have to bring them to the tailor. And this class will go well beyond your normal, how to hem things, how to shorten things, how to take things in. Shorin can fix anything. So if you have things in your closet that you need help altering, please consider joining us. It's 2 days. If you're going to fly here, I will pick you up and drop you back off at the Holiday Inn near the airport, which has a shuttle. And I'll bring you right to Michael's Tailor Shop, and we'll spend all day. Lunch is included. So that's going to be on the 7th and 8th of June, which is a Sunday and a Monday, because that's when the shop is closed. So we have full run of her shop. You don't have to bring your sewing machine or anything, because we have all the tools and things you would need. So just bring everything you need to alter, and we're going to have a great time. The second in-person class I'm doing is a 3-day pants fitting class in Lansing, Michigan on July 17th, 18th, and 19th. And it's going to be at this really nice sewing store called Seams Fabric and Mercantile. It's in Lansing, Michigan, and I'm very excited about that. So if you're interested in doing pants fitting with me, check the description below for the link to that. And of course, if you click on the link to the newsletter, the information for all these 3 things that I've talked about are in the newsletter. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to talk about this. And one of the reasons why I want to talk about it again is because I got this really good question about what happens to the side seam after you reduce the cup size. And cup size is an interesting thing, because we all say, or we all think we know what cup we are. And of course, depending on which brand of bra you buy, that can vary. And then when you're sewing with a cup size pattern, that's a situation where picking the cup that you think is the right cup for you is very, very close, but you might need to fine tune it. Or you might be in a situation where you have G cup like me, and I'm always feeling like I need more room, I need more room, I need more room. So I added more cup to my pattern. And then when I got to the very end of the fitting, I realized 2 things. I realized that, first of all, my bust dart actually was in the wrong spot. And I know what I'm doing, and I thought I had it in the right spot, because I follow my efficient workflow for bodice fitting, where we start up at the top, and we do the shoulders, the upper back, the chest and the neck. We fit that first, after everything's fitted up here, then we work down, okay? Because if we have to pick up the shoulder or change the slope of the shoulder, if I pick this up, you can clearly see it hikes everything else up too, right? So I had this all nice, and then I went to, you know, I went through the process of adjusting everything else. And what I want to show you here is, this is what my dart looked like. This is what my dart looked like. And what I want you to notice is, I had measured from my shoulder to my apex on my body, and I put my bust dart where that measurement landed. And you can see here, it's actually a little too low. Here is the fullness of my bust, and here is my dart below the fullest part of my bust. So I'm going to stop telling people to measure from their shoulder to their apex, and really that's the areola area of the bust where people, identify that. Instead, we're going to look at the side view, and we're going to position that dart so that it's up like this. And I'm just going to stick a few pins here to show you. I'll make sure this is all nice and neat for you. So I'm going to just pick it up like this, and you can see as I pick it up, it's putting it in the right position vertically. And I'm just going to stab this pleat down with some pins here just to make it easy. All right, so that was my first thing. And then the second thing I noticed was I had, I can pinch too much cup. It wasn't ease per se. Notice if I pull this towards center, it's not getting rid of the shaping. So there's two things that go on when you're fitting your bust. You need enough ease across your body at bust level, but then you also need to have the right size cup, which creates the mound in the fabric basically to go around your mound basically. So what I realized was, if I'm just going to lift up this other side here. So what I realized was my cup was actually a little bit too big. And that's probably because I did a second full bust adjustment thinking I needed more room. So I'm going to turn to this after side. And what I want to show you here is I sewed a pleat, and it's about, I would say 3/4 of an inch all the way across through the actual dart. So to do this, you have to take the dart out and take the side seam out so you can sew the pleat in there. And then what you do, so then what you do is you sew the dart back, and I think I can show you here. See, here is where the pleat keeps going inside the dart, right? So I reduced the cup size by taking out 3/4 of an inch through the center of the dart, and that made a much nicer fit. Now the question I got, which I'm really mad at myself for not mentioning this in the tutorial, someone asked, well, do you have to change the back side seam because you took out 3/4 of an inch? And the answer is no, because when you position this pleat, you're positioning it right through the center of the dart. So you are not reducing the length of the side seam at all. You are actually reducing the dart intake. You're making the dart smaller. So that's why it's very important when you adjust your paper pattern that you actually cut and overlap the paper pattern through the middle of the dart intake. And that way you're creating a smaller dart and the side seam remains unchanged. And it creates a smaller cup shape. And the reason why I really like this technique is you can do it on your muslin, when you have it on. You don't have to create a new muslin, so it really helps you fine-tune that fit of your bust if something slipped and you didn't get it quite right in the vertical process of fitting. I think you can even see, if you look at it from the front here, you know, over here I can see that extra hanging out right here, and over here I can't. So it just really helps to fine tune the shape and size of your bust dart. So that is something that I wanted to just clear up for people. And then, okay, so the other thing I want to talk about is, let me just move this out of the way. You guys know I do a little bit of machine embroidery. Let me just see what's going on here. I think this is the first time, this is the first time in my whole history of going live, there's absolutely no one watching me, but I'm just going to keep going here. I mean, I started 15 minutes late, so I kind of understand why people would not think I was going to be on today due to all my technical difficulties. But I want to share one other thing here, and then I'm going to go because I have a friend who doesn't feel good, and I want to go visit her. She has a really bad ear infection, so she's not catchy, but she's just really sad and lonely in her house, so I'm going to go visit her. So something you may not know about me is, in the past, I was an avid counted cross stitcher, and I don't have any of my complete projects to show you, but I am going to show you something that I started just to give you an idea of the kind of cross stitch I used to do. Let me just go over here and bring this way down here so you can see, and let me just make sure it's really sharp. Okay, so this is actually the skirt of a dress that I think a mom is wearing here, a mother, and then there's a child standing next to her over here, or right here. So I had started this a long time ago. You can see this is the sleeve, and some of the bodice detail here. And actually I may actually go back to that and finish it. Let me see if I can find, let me see here. Oh, is this something else I started? Look, I have another thing I started. Oh, this must have been a massive project. Look at this one. So this, I think, was a sampler. So in the middle of the sampler there was this deer. So that's something else. And this is 28 count linen. That's what I like to cross stitch on. But let me just see if I can find, oh, this is the deer right here. So I may go back and work on this. I don't know. This was a long time ago. You know, I thought I wanted to make this big project. We'll see. So far I've just gotten part of a deer done. But what I wanted to show you is the one that here's the pattern for the one. Here it is. So what I would do is I would laminate, oh, no, this is not the same thing. I have so many things started here. You know how, like, you have your UFO projects? Look at all this pretty linen I have. Let's look at that. Look at all this pretty linen. So if I ever want to make something out of linen, I have all these colored linens that I can work with. And what I was trying to find is this one. I don't know. Okay, so this is one that I made for my mom and my dad. I don't have the original, but you can see it's a very elaborate, the Angel of Mercy it's called. So I made, this is hanging in my parents' house. I made that. And, oh, maybe it's this one right here. No, that's another one all right, I don't know where the pattern for this one is. It's got to be in here somewhere, but I'm going to stop looking for it. But basically, this is the kind of cross stitch that I used to do. And so the reason why I'm bringing all of this out and showing you is because I am going to do a new project for a friend who asked me if I could digitize or create in my software this bear. Now, what did I do with the bear? Honestly, what did I do with the... All right, I don't know how I lose these things. Let me just tack all this stuff up. Hold on, let me see what I did with the paper bear. I have no idea what I did with it. Is it underneath all of this stuff? My fabric, fabric. All right, that is completely ridiculous that I lost the bear. How could I have lost it? It was in this pile with all of this stuff. All right, I don't know what I did with it. This is really amazing to me that I lost the little bear. But basically, it's a picture of a bear, and it's got a little bib on it, and my friend wanted me to create that in software, and then come to find out when I went to do that, I realized I didn't know how to do the cross stitch in my software. And so instead of figuring it out, I am going to be doing it by hand for her. And let me just show you something here. So if you guys want to compare, this is my 28 count linen that I like to work on. And let me just get it nice and sharp so you can see it. And then I went to the store, I went to Michael's, and I got Aida cloth. So this is a 6 count Aida cloth, which means there is 6 squares to an inch. And then I thought that was too big. So I got some, this is 14 count Aida cloth. And what that means is there is 14 squares to an inch. So I'm going to be using this Aida cloth to stitch the bear that I ridiculously cannot find the pattern for. I just printed it out. And it was on this table, and I clearly scared it somewhere. So I'm going to have to print it out again. But basically, I'm going to be working on this, and I'll show you my progress next week, because I want to surprise her, because for some reason it has to be this bear that I can't show you because I don't know where it is. Because I said to her, I'm like, I could just buy a bear embroidery and embroider it for you. And she's said, no, it has to be this particular design because it means something to the mom. So I'm going to be doing that, and I will share with you my progress next week along with an actual project. So yeah, so that's it. So I hope everyone had a wonderful Mother's Day. I guess I can talk about that. I had my usual get together with my family, and then I spent the rest of the day gardening, because that's when I usually kick off my gardening. So that's what I did for Mother's Day. So I hope everybody else had a nice weekend last weekend, and I hope everyone has a nice weekend this weekend. I cannot believe it's already the middle of May. It's going to be summer before we know it. Spring is just flipping by. But in any case, I want to thank everybody. Well, there's nobody here. This is really weird. I'm wondering if one of my settings is not right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off now, and I'll keep an eye on it and see if anyone watches. But if anybody has any questions about anything, obviously I look at my comments, I will answer. So I hope everyone has a nice weekend. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you for catching the replay, and thank you for following along with me. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, or have a wonderful week, or whenever you're watching this. And I will see you next Friday. So I'm going to go. Bye-bye.